Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of Breaking the Barriers. We're calling this Breaking the Barriers Breathe America Edition in honor of the noble Patrick Wickard, who I'm about to pull up on the screen right now. As you all know, my man Patrick went all the way out to Portland, Oregon, because he is insane, and went out there with the protesters to get a live feed for himself, not from everything that we've all been seeing on Facebook. I mean, they're all live feeds and everything, but we have someone that we know, that we trust, that was out there to provide a narrative and listen. But I want you guys to understand something as we get into this. He did not go out there as Patrick the Streetlight or Patrick from Breaking the Barriers. He went out there as Patrick from Breathe America, which is, I'm saying that for a reason. We'll discuss that later on in a second. Patrick, say hello to everybody.
What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'd call it a lot of fun. It was very educational. And that's the whole point that I went to gain a better understanding of the position that is opposite of mine. So
Gotcha.
I was given the opportunity to meet this individual that took me around down there that had spent a lot of time and was willing to do this at great risk to themselves. So I want that to be known. Like, I respect the crap out of her for being willing to do it in the first place.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
All right.
Hey, everybody.
Get into this. Don't trip. We're gonna get into it, guys. So now let me pull up my other brother from another mother of another color, Mr. Anthony Be the Change Russo. What's up, brother?
Woo! You know, I like America so much. There's nothing more American than a Chicago-style hot dog, and that is what I'm eating. So
that's true.
It's going to get in my mustache. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance.
Your mustache is going to get into the hot dog. I'm drinking coffee because I haven't had any today, and I'm wondering why I have a headache. I'm like, why is my head hurting? My head's been hurting an awful lot lately, and it's because I have not been drinking as much coffee as I normally do. Normally, I drink like a pot of coffee by myself.
Water, Cash. Drink water.
This has water in it.
Water. But to be fair, I am trying to get hydrated because 14 hours.
Can't see us. Can you guys see us?
I can see you.
I see all you guys.
Everybody can see us?
Let me check the Facebook feed.
Yeah, do that because people are saying that they can't see us.
Looking. Look. Do you have it on? Is this on Breaking? Or
okay, no, they can see us. They can see us.
Okay, good.
I think you guys need to check your connections if you cannot see us. I don't think it's us. Okay, so moving right along, let's jump on into this first. How are you guys doing? How's your day been, Patrick? How's your day been, brother? How you been? What's going on?
It's hot and long. I didn't fly to Portland. I drove. I live 7 hours from Portland, so I've spent almost 15 hours in a car in the last 24 hours, and it sucked. And I'm going out to another protest tonight in Boise, so I am drinking lots of water so that I am well hydrated again because it's 104 here today or something like that. It's ridiculously hot.
Just
but other than that, I'm pretty good.
We will be going live for Patrick. When he goes out there, he's gonna let me know. I'm gonna StreamYard it straight to all the pages. You guys share the crap out of those pages because I have a funny feeling that we're gonna see a bunch of patriots. We're gonna see a bunch of patriots out there to show that even though America seems divided and it seems like there's more negativity and there's more anarchy out there than people that are like us, patriots that love this country, you're going to see different tonight. You're going to see a bunch of patriots out there. There's more of us than there is negativity out there, okay? That's all I want to let you guys know. Also, there's no baby yet. Baby is still in the oven, not done baking. I'm going to try to get her out tonight. I'm going to do my best.
Whoa.
Anyway, Anthony, how are you doing today, sir?
You know, just living the dream. I'm actually in my mom's new mini home. She's now going to be full-time living in an RV. This is real life. So we've got a little van. So I'm doing the work from here. It's fantastic. This is good. I'm eating a hot dog because I hear when Brad Pitt eats one, he gets better reviews and the movies make more money. So I'm going to go and eat throughout and see if that brings my milkshake brings the boys to the yard. I don't know. All right, cool.
Gotcha. I hope that it does bring more views. That'd be great. Right now we're at a steady 400.
I had a thought, Russo, but I'm going to keep it to myself. I'm going to keep it to myself.
Yeah,
Okay?
eating a hot dog while having this mustache has a lot of gray area.
We're going way off topic here. Before we jump into this, guys, can you do me a favor? Everybody that's watching me right now, we got 436 people steady, 446 people steady. Do me a favor right now and tag someone in the comments or just share the post. That'd be great. If you could just share this right now or just tag somebody and tell them to come in, because we have some things to discuss about Portland. Good old crazy Chicago style Portland. It's not Chicago style at all. We're going to get into it. All right. So please share this, tag somebody. I appreciate you.
It's not letting me share it.
Don't know why.
That's weird.
Hey, that goes. So I've already shared it on my personal page and on Breathe America.
Gotcha,
so
right.
that goes for all of you guys too that are watching over there.
I got it.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So let's jump right into this. Patrick, should I pull up the video? Should I? No, I think people have watched it, right? Maybe you could share the video after this, or we could put it in the comment section.
You can't actually. We've pulled the video down. The video will be edited to make sure that we protect her identity. Because some things came up almost immediately after. So this morning it was just a panic to make sure that nobody could figure out who she was. So we pulled the video down. It's being edited right now, and it will go back up edited so that she is completely protected first and foremost. So, but the video will be going up. We'll be done editing in the next day or so. So it'll be back up really soon. But we can discuss any part about it. So.
Let me break it down to you guys. This lady that Patrick went out to Portland with, we were just calling her lipstick. Not the other names I was gonna say because I was angry at that video. He went out there with her and she was giving her narrative of how she felt the protests were and how the media was on both sides displaying it wrong and how Trump supporters were out there kidnapping people and how it was the police and the feds that were actually instigating, and then the people just started doing all these things. And basically they're a bunch of victimized protesters that only want justice for the black people who may or may not be their friends, because we all know that like 90% of the people out there were white. I might say 95% of the people out there were white. And yeah, it pissed me off as I watched the video. So let's get into this conversation. Patrick, talk to me.
So, yeah, everything that you just said is accurate, but you missed a couple of things that I think are really important to point out too. She also did a pretty good job of pointing out the fact that the protesters do get violent, that they do in fact escalate things, and but there was a lot of really interesting points made throughout the night. And I want to clarify something really quick for anybody on Streetlights that doesn't know, that's not on Breathe America, doesn't know what we talk about over there. So it's an open group that, or like a group where we all discuss issues. There's conservatives, there's liberals, and one of the things I'm always encouraging people to do is to listen to gain understanding of the other side. And so last night was a really great chance for me to go out and show you guys exactly how that is done. I did not interrupt her. I did not counter her points. I let her tell her story based on her experience. She's a woman that has been down there almost every single day of every single protest. She's missed a few. She's been shot with rubber bullets on two different occasions. One was a glance or a ricochet, and one was a direct hit. She's been tear gassed multiple times by both cops and feds. She has
the flag.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Before you keep going, Patrick, because this is basically your show tonight.
Sure.
We're just here to, have your back. But I want you guys to understand, Breathe America, he went out there as Breathe America, okay? And like he was saying, Breathe America is geared towards something different, but still the same. When Breathe America first started, I hated it. I hated that you guys were messaging me about the stuff that was happening on there. I got super mad at Patrick because my inbox was blowing up. But I love my brother to the death, always. It's the Three Amigos right here. That's my dude, always. Anthony, my guy, always. And we're the Three Amigos. You will always see us together. When you think of Streetlights or you think of Breaking the Barriers, you'll think of us three. You know what I'm saying? And I just want you to know that now, anybody that's watching this right now, if you haven't had a chance to go over to the Breathe America page, go check it out, because there's some great conversations that happen in there. It is really dope. I enjoy it. So yeah, if you guys get the chance, go check out Breathe America.
Hey, and if you do come over and check it out, understand that the whole point is to have civil conversations with each other. This is not a place where you get to come and just bang a drum for one side or the other. It's all about gaining understanding from each other and being able to actually communicate with each other. And we've had some people that have really grasped this concept on both sides, and we have some on both sides that have not. So we are working our way through these issues and trying to come up with ways to do it, to do it better all the time. So please understand, it is a work in progress. I mean, I don't know anywhere else that I have seen yet where liberals and Republicans or conservatives are discussing political issues, or life issues. We talk a lot about personal development and mental health. We talk a lot about being the best version of you, positive mindsets, things like that, because I think all of that factors into being able to have a good conversation. You've got to be good first, right?
Yes.
So back to last night.
Get it, bro. Explain away.
So one of the things I found most interesting was she definitely feels that the protesters are the ones that are not being, or they're not the aggressors in the situation. But throughout the night, other things would come up that made me go, well, that doesn't really make sense, right? So, but I want to touch on this one first, actually. She actually says from her experience and what she's seen, there was more brutality from the police department before the feds got there than there's been from the feds since they've got there. But simply the feds being there was all the escalation that the protesters needed to start throwing bottles and frozen bottles of water, canned food, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then obviously the feds respond with tear gas, because if you're going to be in a crowd and throw a bunch of stuff at federal officers, they're going to disperse the crowd, and that's what they do, right? And the protesters that aren't throwing things feel like that's not right. Like they feel like they're being mistreated. And maybe it's not fair, but I think people have got to start to realize that the idea of guilty by association is a real thing. Okay. Uh-huh. If you're down there in that environment, this was something my mother used to say to me when I was a kid, you are the friends you keep. Right.
Yep.
So you're running around down there with these people and you're peaceful. And they start chucking stuff at feds. You gotta probably realize that, hey, Tara, you gotta probably understand that tear gas is coming. Okay. That's the first point we got to make. So I don't know that the escalation is entirely on the police or the federal side of things. There's also something else. Chuck, what's up, brother?
I'm just throwing them up there so we can let them know we see them. We love them. You can keep going, brother. I'm not trying to cut you.
But the other thing that's interesting is that there's a lot of talk in the media that this is like all of downtown Portland. It's not, guys. It's really like 2 blocks. So originally, before the feds ever came there, they were there. They were meeting at what's called the Justice Center, which is kind of like the jail, right? And that's where all the police were. That's where the protesters would meet up. Now, it just so happens that that's where their attention was. But right next door to it is the federal courthouse. So the feds came in to protect the federal courthouse, which wasn't even the target of the protesters. So there's a miscommunication that was brought up. And another thing that was really interesting to me, and I don't know if you guys all caught this, but she mentioned the fact that even from her perspective, the media on the left and the media on the right are not getting it right. And this is something I know Cassius and I have talked about before, and I know Anthony feels the same way. Depending on what you watch, you get a narrative sold to you, right? You get a bill of goods that says this is what's going on. And I'm one of those people that believe that both sides are probably inaccurate and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. And it was interesting to see that she had that same sort of perspective, that nobody's actually talking about it the right way. She has different reasons for that, obviously, than I do, but that was also very interesting. So I don't know, what were some of the things that you picked up on it, Anthony? Did you see it?
I didn't see your video last night. I was going to watch it before, and then I saw that it was already down. But I heard the little bit of the reviews. I saw some of the chatting back and forth. And she is hard to understand the story of. And in my opinion, and I've been having obviously way too many of these conversations, but the big thing regarding the concept behind, oh my God, I'm a peaceful protester that's been shot by rubber bullets. To me, as a father, I look at it, and you're a father, Patrick, you're a father, Cash. You look at it and you say, well, my whole purpose is telling my children to know that when they put themselves at risk, it's on them. It's like going like, I'm not doing anything wrong, but I'm standing on a corner where there's a bunch of gang members.
Right.
There is, and a lot of people are doing that whole sympathy card. Like, I was just out there to create positive change and I got shot by rubber bullets. Look at these horrible people. Yeah, but the guy next to you is throwing a canister, or the guy next to you is can't kill the police. I've started to get to the point where I try to see the middle ground and I try to be peaceful, but to me, it's a fundamental difference on the way people were raised. It's a fundamental difference on self-responsibility, and it's a fundamental difference on understanding that you're putting yourself at risk by being in a bad position. And I don't know where that got lost in society. So that's been my takeaway from listening to Cash talk about it, and the people commenting on Breathe America, Patrick.
Okay. And what were some of the points? Like, I know, Cash, I saw your video, and I even commented on it. I don't know if you caught that. I was actually watching you live.
I seen it after. I didn't notice you was watching. That's why I gave you a shout out. I had to give you your love, brother, and your respect for going out there. I had to. But God, it was so hard for me to watch. I was so mad, bro. My God.
I forgot to say that, Patrick. Mad props, because I was like, there was a part of me itching, because it's so much easier now for you to have a voice, because no matter what I've said, I'm like, I can say that I've watched 3 hours of live footage in a row, and they go, but you're not there. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. You went there, you did it, and mad props for that.
Yeah. Drop me off for a second. Somebody's at the door.
Go ahead, do your thing. Okay, so when I watched the video last night, I seen my guy out there. You know, I love Patrick to death, man. Me and him, that's my boy, all day long. Now, I understand. See, what I told you guys, I didn't grasp that fact at first when I was watching it. I'm thinking like, Patrick's a street light. Patrick's not breaking the barriers. Patrick's gonna go out there and he's gonna, say whatever, right? And I had to think about it after I spoke with him, because I'm watching the video and it was like freaking hard for me to watch the video, and I had to tell myself, okay, you know what, he's right. He's got his own thing, Breathe America, and he is always pushing, the listening to the other side. So that's what he was doing out there, listening to the other side. So as I'm listening to the other side from this chick, I'm sitting there like cussing, and Erica's asleep, and I'm there cussing like, what is she talking? She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And I was just getting so angry. And especially because I'm like, you know what? I've been streaming the live protests. I had people that were out there and I streamed their videos. And then you guys know Villain and Chuck. We had them on and they attested to everything with no agenda. They're not either way swinging, but they put the truth out there of what was really happening on both sides. And this chick was like, is all I could think in my mind. Like, this she's super liberal. She's just a super liberal chick, you know what I'm saying? And I was getting frustrated with her narrative of things. I'm listening to the other side of this chick. I'm sitting there like, they're not either way swinging. What was that?
You're playing back, is what it sounded.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, we're good. That might have been on my end. Sorry.
Gotcha. But yeah, man, no. So what really frustrated me?
That's my bad.
It's okay. What really frustrated me, the biggest thing, and you guys know, I'm like, I don't like nobody speaking bad about America, first off. Burning flags. My pawpaw, rest in peace, fought in Vietnam 2 times. You know what I'm saying? Came back with gangrene, all kinds of stuff wrong with him, and he was a hero of mine. I love my pawpaw. You know what I'm saying? Big old white Irish dude, red hair, green eyes, freckles. Freaking American, bro. True American. I love him. So to see them burning the flag, that pissed me off, right? But what really pissed me off the most is when I heard her talking about how disadvantaged black people are, and they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice if they don't want to sell drugs. They don't have a choice if they don't want to join a gang. Girl, and then she said Chicago. That really hit me. That really, like, boom. Because when I gangbang, that's where I was from. 99 to Ewing, 99 Ruthless, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about because everybody's got a choice. I had a choice. You didn't understand that you had a choice. You could have said that. They don't understand that they have a choice, but that's not the fault of America for them not understanding that they don't have a choice. That's at the fault of their parents. That's at the fault of themselves. It has nothing to do with America being like, hey, you're black, you're born in the hood, you got to sell drugs. Hey, guess what? Guess what? Not only do you got to sell drugs, you got to join a gang. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it is. You're not born throwing up a gang sign, man. It's what you're taught, what you learn. And until you learn better, then you stop and then you change. But there's always the choice to do that. It infuriated me, brother. I was so mad. I was pissed. But go ahead. What do you think?
You know, it's funny that you say that because it brings up a really interesting point because, you know, we're at Breathe America, we're trying to have these conversations every day. And the other side's opinion often has that exact reaction that you had, right? Like listening to this woman speak about what she's seen and her thoughts and her, you know, and yet her experiences are different than yours. But though, like, the one thing I got to say is a lot of people in the comments were just saying that she was lying. Now, I've talked to her for 2.5 hours down there, and I've talked to her multiple times before we went down there. And I can tell you guys, she believes everything she's saying. She's not trying to lie about anything. She was trying to give her truth. And this is literally what she thinks. So this was a really great chance to learn what this one particular protester was thinking at that time. And yeah, to your point about her talking about Chicago, I get why you'd be upset. That's your home, man. That's your neck of the woods. And it'd be like somebody sitting in Chicago telling me what life's like in Boise, right? Like, I know what life's like in Boise. I know what's going on here. This is where I live.
You know, you just made me think because how many other people, right, that are not from Chicago, and that's the thing, the media and all these TV shows and all the things they put in front of your face, they make you actually believe those things. And I could tell that she was sincere in what she was saying. She really did believe it. I could tell that. But it's like, what in the hell in her right mind makes her think that? And then we go back into everything that gets put out there, everything that people see. You think that in Chicago it's just so bad that you just have to be this kind of way. And that's not the case. And it blows my mind because then you see why the nation is in an uproar, why you do have, you know, a lot of white people that that like black people a lot, or however you want to look at that. And you wonder why they're out there and why they're going so hard, because in their core, they believe that black people, first off, are getting gunned down by police. They believe that black people have to be gangbangers. They believe that black people have to sell dope, and they're sympathizing. She really is trying to sympathize and say, yeah, I'm understanding that right now. I just had an epiphany of it. So I don't think she's a dipshit. I'll take that back. Lipstick. I will call you by your name. I apologize for that. I appreciate your sympathy, but it's misplaced, is what I'll say. Your sympathy is misplaced. It shouldn't be, you know, you don't. It's hard for me to put it out and say what I want to say, but like the media portrays the black struggle as if it's unique. It's not. Because in Chicago, it's not just black people. There are white people born the exact same way. Some of my closest friends, they're even on my Facebook now. I know some dudes that's white, that's from the same hood as me, grew up the same way as me, maybe even worse. You know what I'm saying? And they're disadvantaged too, and it has nothing to do with race. And that's why I get so pissed when it's Black lives. Black lives matter. What about all the other lives that are growing up black, if you will? You know what I'm saying? All the other people around. You seen, Patrick, when you was out here?
Yeah.
You seen this? It's a melting pot.
It is.
You feel me? It's Mexican, it's white, it's black, and we all got the same disadvantages. It has nothing to do with color at all, but they push it like that, and I hate it. I hate that people think like they see a black person and see a fucking charity case. Sorry for cussing, but it really upsets me. You know what I'm saying? Black people are not a charity case that are so broken and beat down that, you know, somebody got to put together a whole organization and justify every bad thing that they do now because they've been mistreated so horribly, and they have to sell drugs and they have to be in gangs. So we have to let them tear up the fucking country. Or no, better yet, they don't have to tear it up. We have to tear it up for them. We have to tear the country up for them because they're so oppressed that they can't. The cops might kill them if they come out here and do what we're doing. You get what I'm saying? It's BS.
Yeah, I do. 100%. 100%. And it's interesting. Like, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of liberals, and it's sometimes they're really great. And they're open to having these conversations. Sometimes it's not so good, man. And, but the one honest truth that you just said, they do legitimately sympathize. It comes from it's almost like they come predominantly from an emotional position rather than a fact-based position. Their emotions rule their decision-making process in some situations. I've seen this quite a bit though. But it's very similar to your reaction to the live and listening to her talk. You know, we have this knee-jerk emotional reaction. We don't necessarily understand why. And you know, like, one of the things that was really interesting about last night is we actually saw a black woman walk into the crowd with a megaphone and start talking about Blue Lives Matter.
That was awesome.
Now, according to Lipstick, this is the first time she had ever seen this in all the days down there, and I believe her 100% because the look on the predominantly white crowd around this woman was dumbfounded. They had no idea what to say. They had no idea how to interact. Some of them were like talking in the back real quietly with like disagreeing with her, like, but not willing to say it out loud enough. And like, I don't know if you caught it in the video, but there was a few black men that came in and they were literally surrounded by white protesters with shields.
Yeah.
The you know, when a person of color comes into these places, they are protected at all costs. And that kind of speaks to what you were saying. And it's really an interesting thing to witness firsthand. And one of the things I think we'd be doing an injustice if I would be doing you all just an injustice if I didn't tell you this. Man, that was really hard to get out of my mouth. My ass.
Too bad Lipstick didn't have that much trouble speaking last night. Move on, right?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Hey, it's all good. But the tension, you guys, like, I've been in a lot of situations. I walk down the streets in Cash's neighborhood. I've been in, you know, I've been in Portland many a times at many different times when I was young and just traveling for work and I didn't know no better. I'd go to gas stations on Martin Luther King Boulevard, which apparently you shouldn't do as a white person. That was kind of an intense situation. I've been to Albuquerque, New Mexico. I've been Arizona, California, you know, Nevada, all the Western states. I've seen a lot of different cities. I've been all over the place, you guys. And the tension I felt in that park was absolutely the most. It was like sitting on. It was ready to go at any moment. And you knew when the people that were there with peaceful intent were done, they left. Right.
Yeah.
And the longer we stayed, the longer I was there, the more you knew that, okay, these people that are here now, you know, and it was still a crowd of about 1,000 people towards the end when I exit stage left, so to speak, because I got a little bit upset. But yeah, the tension there is there. And another point that, you know, I've been thinking about this all day, and I talked about it a little bit in my morning thoughts. I honestly think, looking back on the conversation and the way that she talks and the way that she shares her information, it's almost like she's completely desensitized to it now at this point, right? She's seen so much of it that this is literally just what she does. And there's a lot of people, they come down there prepared for this. Like, this is what they're doing, period. They're going to go fight with cops and feds. That's it. And literally the only instigation that she ever talked about from the feds were just them coming out of the courthouse.
Hey, Patrick, what's her job? What was her career?
Not going to share. We're actually going to edit that out of the video.
I'm about to say, I know. I heard it in the video when she was talking about it.
Yeah, but she works in service, basically, with people.
Okay. Is she out of work right now?
No, she's not. Nope.
Okay.
Works 45 hours a week.
Yep.
What I see this as, and I'm just going to interrupt for a split second. I'm talked more about the age group, the typical typical and there's of all ages, I know that, but the core group that is part of the riot / heavy protesting is COVID created a sheltered beast, and it created people, some that are losing their jobs, some that don't see their coworkers every day because they're working from home and things have changed. And what it's created is a human being that, much like Cash talks about when he joined gangs, and we talked to Kevin, that police officer, that he played football, then he went into the military, then he went into the police, needing to be a part of something no matter what it is. And now that it's become repetitive and people keep going, fighting against the idea of, okay, it's time to go home, has become their job. It's become this odd responsibility where it's giving them self-purpose, even no matter how misguided it is. And like you said, she is fully bought into her belief system that isn't fully researched, but it is literally something to her that means enough to where there is almost nothing that can take people like her away from it, which is why we're at this powder keg. And it all started with being cooped up with COVID, losing our the responsibilities of daily life. And now we're coming together for different reasons. And this group is coming together. They're so separated from things because they have a need to be a part of something. No matter how off base it is, and no matter how dangerous it has become this job team mentality. And I don't know how to break that concept.
Right.
You're 100% right.
Definitely.
I 100% agree, because
wisdom is a sort of grit.
These guys, I mean, they literally are coming down there with all the gear. They're ready for everything. And, they're packing gas masks now. They've got all the supplies to go and have this fight. And they're ready for that fight every single night. And I don't think anybody can argue the point that you just made, simply because this is like, what, day 66 now or something like that? Like every single night for going on or for over 2 months. Good night, Angel. We love you too.
Good night.
It's like going. It's like when people get really into like when people start getting into working out and they're like, I bought these new shoes, and there's a routine. Like I put like you said, they put their helmet and stuff on. So it's like running. You get really into it. It creates an addiction. It creates a thing that you're continuously doing. Like, I have to put this shoe on. I've got my special wristband, my such and such watch. In this case, it's like, I got to get my riot gear on. I put this on first. And it creates a chemical reaction that, from a scientific side, creates a chemical reaction in the brain that is saying, let's go do this. It's weird. Protesting and rioting has become an addiction to the human psyche. It's weird, super weird.
Look what Nancy just said.
I was reading it as it was going by. Megaphone.
I feel like Patrick right now looks like the guy from Home Improvement, the neighbor. Let me see, he's right there.
Awesome.
Wilson.
Check this out. What really got me too, Patrick, I wanted you to touch on it when you were talking about what she said. What did that lady say?
A lot.
No, I know there was a specific part about the protesters.
The two different groups?
The instigators, you said. She said that
we call that group Black.
I forget. I know that I forget what it was, but the one thing I want to talk about was when she was saying about the Trump supporters that were coming out kidnapping people dressed as military. Then about her saying that the police and the feds were the instigators before the people started, and also that they didn't really start getting crazy until the feds. Or no, they died down a little bit when the feds came in. Like they were, whatever. Explain how you explain it to me.
So I asked her about Antifa, right? And I asked her this before we even went live, because we walked like 8 city blocks to get in there, because Portland, right? And so Antifa to her is just a word, right? It's just a word that means anti-fascist. That's all that it means. There is no Antifa group in her mind, but there are a group of people that are well equipped, and they are out there instigating the more aggressive approach with the feds, right? But there are rules among the protesters, right? Like it's not your right to tell somebody how to protest, and if you do that, you will be removed. right? Like if you tried to, like if I had tried to stop the violence, like if things had got out of hand or something, or I spoke out against something somebody had said and said you can't do that. I caught a glimpse of people being removed from it. So, and there was nothing peaceful about that. And these are the peaceful protesters that are removing these people from the where they're all gathered at. So that was an interesting thing to see. And then you brought up the allegation that she made that Trump supporters were coming down dressed in tactical gear and talking and kidnapping protesters. Now, I didn't touch on it at all during the live. I just kind of blew right by it because honestly, I felt if that was real at all, we would know about it by now, right? Like I'm pretty certain we would know about it. She talked about Trump supporters that come by with loud cars and they chant out the window, wave flags and things like that to just rile the crowd up. And it definitely does. When the first time I heard a loud car come around, the crowd definitely woke up. And then, when we were right down in the center listening to the two women have a rather heated discussion, there was a moment where we had to move, where she just took off, right? So the car was revved up really, really loud, and she was afraid that they were going to be running through the crowd with the car because they've seen that in Seattle. Was her exact words. I don't know if you guys caught that on
I did. But you know what? Like I was talking to you this morning, like I was saying with the people they call the Proud Boys, right? She's like, well, yeah, they're Trump supporters and they rev up their engines and they're acting like they're gonna go through the crowd and they're causing problems and all this. Well, I mean, think about it. These guys probably live in this city, first off, and regardless if they're Trump supporters or not, they live there. And they probably see all these people that don't live there, or these whiny ass little kids, little brats who parents didn't whoop them enough, standing out there throwing stuff over a fence at people, that are doing their job and had to come in here to control the situation or at least stop some things from happening, and they're pissed off because you're in their city destroying things, making it hard for everybody, making life miserable for everybody. So hell yeah, they might want to rev their engine up to try to get you guys to clear out. Maybe they really did want to run you over because you're out there causing issues for a cause that has already been lost. You guys have lost the whole message out there. The whole message is lost. Now it's just about combativeness, to be disrespectful to law enforcement, be disrespectful to feds, destroying property, throwing fireworks, blinding people, all these things that have nothing to do with protests. You know what I'm saying? And then, like you were saying about the people that were escorting them out if they were peaceful protesting. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a peaceful protest. You cannot be peaceful over there or have an opposing message of trying to bring unity. So if we would have went all out there together and say, yo, you guys, we got to stop this. We need to unite. We need to do this. They would have made us leave because we're not out there causing chaos. What does that tell you? They want the chaos. They want that. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. It just came back to me right now as I was speaking about it, the blueprint. Talk to them about the blueprint, Patrick.
Yeah. There's a point I got to make, though, about the woman that came in and had the discussion, the black woman that was talking about Blue Lives Matter. If I had done that, if I had grabbed a megaphone and gone out there and started chanting Blue Lives Matter and screaming over people, how do you guys think that would have turned out?
Canceled.
Right? Like,
canceled.
Now, I want to make a point about the Proud Boys, too. So the Proud Boys are actually a far-right neo-fascist group, and it's you can look it up. There's information on that. But if these are just people driving by in a car, this is simply an assumption. Like if they haven't actually got out, like how do you know, right? So this is her belief, right? And because of that affiliation, or because that group does exist, and that's what they're calling it, that doesn't actually mean that that's who these people are. So assumptions are dangerous on either side, guys. Like we either find out for ourselves, we go see it for ourselves, we learn about it for ourselves, or we're literally just taking the words of other people. Do I know for a fact that the guy in that car that I didn't even see the car was a Proud Boy? No, I don't. That is what he was labeled as, or she, for that matter. I don't even know if it was a male or a woman driving.
Could have been a giraffe.
That's the point.
For it to even assume that you know what they are because of all this stuff with gender identification and stuff.
Right. Maybe you're a puppy. Today you're a puppy, right?
I identify as a lion.
You would. So, but about the blueprint. So when we were on Breaking the Barriers last time, Dylan had brought up the blueprint, right? That Portland was a blueprint city. So before we went live, I actually asked her about this on the walk up as well, and she told me that, and I asked her what it meant, and she's like, "Oh, well, that's just because Portland's predominantly white. So Portland has about an 8% African American population. So Portland is predominantly white. So it's the blueprint to see how white people will deal with this. That's what she said. So now I can't really speak to her context, and I can't really speak to like what all that means for her, but it does paint a really interesting picture in my brain, at least. So why are they testing the white population in predominantly white cities?
Well, I got an answer for that.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So, you know how they use Portland, right? Portland got tossed, and Seattle. But Portland was going nuts. And what was crazy about it is only 8% of the population of Portland is African American, right?
Somebody in the comments just said they believe it's less than 5 now. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Less than 5, Randy, and she probably knows she's talking about because she's brilliant and I love her. So
yes,
so yeah, they used that first because first off, when they put that on the news and they show a bunch of people in a city tearing up everything, right? It's going to incite other cities of other people, mainly the young white kids that are, Black Lives Matter, right? And when it comes to their city, they're going to be like, oh, they're going to be doing exactly what they was doing over there in Portland. Y'all, we got to come out there and da-da-da, and get them hyped up and get them ready, right? Not just that. They wanted to see the reaction of patriots. They want to see the reaction of patriots and the militia groups that we have here in America. The good patriotic militia groups, all right? Which is why I believe also that they're doing that NFAC thing and allowing the NFAC to.
I need to answer Lisa's question or Lisa's comment. She said that she's from Portland and she knows for a fact that the Proud Boys are not an extreme right-wing fascist group. Lisa, I literally looked that up online minutes ago. So that may not be your experience of it, but that is definitely the information that is available online about them. When she
is it on their website?
Yeah, it's on what, Wikipedia?
No, is it on there? But you can't always.
We started with Wikipedia, then we went back to Gavin and McGinnis website. So we went around it a little bit to figure out who they were. And that's
at the same time, though, they label Black Lives Matter as patriotic and stuff. So
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
To enforce Western values.
Well, let me see it. I got to see it for myself.
I feel it, brother.
I'm gonna go with what she's saying because she's from Portland, and like I say, they're gonna try to twist it when somebody's doing something good. Like you said, they're doing something good and peaceful, and they are patriotic. They're gonna try to twist it and say, "Oh, they're far right extremists that whatever." When really, they're just some good Americans.
So this is actually from a late November 2018 from the Federal Bureau of Investigations, classified the Proud Boys as an extremist group with ties to white nationalism. However, 2 weeks later, the FBI officially briefed Clark County, Washington law enforcement officers on the group, and it goes on and on and on and on. So it is actually an FBI source that I'm literally reading it right off the internet right now on a web or through Wikipedia. So, and there are links. There are links, but my point about that wasn't that was who those guys even are. That's just who the protesters are calling them. And maybe they're calling them because that distinction exists in the internet, right? Like, so I have no doubt that the kids that you're talking about are probably really great kids. They probably are the patriots that you're talking about. I'm just saying I don't like assumptions at all.
Right.
So if I don't know for sure, I'm going to check what people say, and that's what came up.
But yeah, moving backwards to what we were just talking about of why they're letting this happen. That right there, turning white people against themselves to implode their own race. Could be that too. But what I'm saying is they're getting ready. They want to see the reactions of everyone. They want to see exactly what's going to happen. Now, here's the crazy part about it, all right? they're letting everybody tear shit up. They're not stopping any of it. So when you see on the news, Portland, Oregon, Portland, okay? Never even knew about Portland until this. All right? You see these people doing it where that there's not a lot of messed up stuff that happens in Portland as far as my knowledge is. You know what I'm saying? It's a pretty good place to live. And they're tearing it up. So they're showing you that even though it's a nice place that, you know, everything's good over here, we come to your city and this happens over here, you can do it. Don't worry about it, because we're tearing up a very nice place to live, a very beautiful, you know, place to be at where nothing ever really happens. So then when you do it in a place where they have a reason, where there is some stuff that goes on, then it's like, well, they did it in Portland. Why can't we do it here? You know what I'm saying? They want to see the reaction of the people. And everybody had to stand down and let these people do it. They had to let them do it. And it could have got shut down. I guarantee you that if patriots everywhere would have stood up, good Americans would have stood up everywhere and said, no, we ain't having that. We going out there since the police can't get them out of there because the governor's allowing it and the mayor's allowing it, and we're going to go get them out. But then that's where you get a civil war. It starts to look like a civil war. People rising up against people, and then the government letting it happen. And I honestly believe that's what they want to happen. So that way they can declare a martial law, or they can do the things that they've been wanting to do. And they can make Trump look bad. You know what I'm saying? Which is why Trump didn't do some of the things that he could have done as the president. He didn't use some of the power that he could have used as a president to shut it all down. He could have shut it all down. You know what I'm saying? He could have ended it whenever he wanted to. But it would have looked bad. It would have looked bad. What do you think, Anthony?
I've been trying to research more Proud Boys stuff. There's a Washington Post article. It's kind of like anything. It's kind of like, I would say Proud Boys based on the surface looks a little bit actually like Black Lives Matter. There's a lot of good people. It sounded like Donald Trump. There's a lot of people in the group that are wanting to do good, and they're constitutionalists is kind of what it looks at. There is a faction of the group that goes over the top. They're the ones that are taking things sometimes to the next level. But ultimately what it appears is though they're simply a group that is anti-illegal immigration. Essentially, their core beliefs are just hardcore conservative. They're not really that far off the beaten path. But there's certain ones that have become the outspoken ones, much like a Black Lives Matter, that have turned it into more of an extremist group. So I know that you guys have started changing the subject on that, but once there was conflicting views, I got on trying to figure out a little bit more on
You're
that.
good at that. You're amazing at that.
Appreciate it.
Hey, he's like Carmen Sandiego of finding clues and stuff. But I see the question in here of when we're going to be able to watch the video. So Brother Patrick had to take it down because he had to edit it because of the safety of Lipstick, who was out there, which is understandable. When it comes back up, it will be on Breathe America. It will be on Patrick's page. I'm assuming that I'm going to share it for you.
Absolutely.
On my page, on the Streetlights page, and I believe Anthony's going to share it as well. We're all going to be sharing that so everybody can see it, because like I told you guys, we're the three amigos. You know what I'm saying? We do this. We share each other's stuff. Go ahead, dog.
Jesus. There was some other things I really wanted to point out that she talked about how, and I think we kind of touched on it, but we missed a bigger point on it, and that was that yes, there is a small group of, and she put a percentage on it of 5% of the group that's out there are violent, instigating type people, and that it's not fair for the rest of the protesters to be cast in that same light. And interestingly enough for me, the only thought in my head was, I bet you the police feel the exact same way.
Police, 100%.
There's just this level of like, it's the same on both sides. And this is why it's so important to me that we have these conversations, because yes, no one group of people should be demonized for the actions of a few of those people that are in that group. 100% I agree with that. But if you're going to stand out there with those people, cheering them on,
then you're with it.
You don't get to cry about getting tear gassed later, or
Exactly.
or the consequences that come from it, guys. That is That is absolutely just not the way that this works. Look, if you don't believe in violent protests, which Lipstick said over and over again, then why are you there? She should leave, as far as I'm concerned. She shouldn't be down there. I understand she has a huge heart. She's sympathetic to the cause, and she wants to be out there to help people. But you're putting yourself at risk, and the larger that crowd is, the more attention it's going to get, and the more likely that innocent people are going to end up getting hurt. So what you think is a good thing is actually going to lead to a bad thing. And I said this in my morning thoughts today when I was talking this morning. The one thing I absolutely learned by going to Portland and seeing it for myself is the message is completely lost. So whatever it is that they started out doing, they've got a list of demands. And, they want the Democratic mayor to step down, oddly enough. They don't like him much. So there's a misconception that we could talk about if you wanted to. And they want to take half the funds that go to the police and redistribute it into black communities in Portland.
That's stupid.
They want every protester that's held to be released, which I believe is none of them, because they're all held for like 12 to 18 hours and then released typically. From what I know, I don't know of anybody else that's still being held, so I can't really say that for sure. But that's what I've heard mostly. And then there was one other demand that slips my head.
I'm tired of the way that they are allowing things to be in this country. I really am. Portland was Seattle and Portland have made America look so shameful. So shameful. It's one thing to let people go out and protest. That's fine. That is our right. That is our American right to peaceably assemble. Peaceably is the key word. As soon as it gets violent, as soon as something happens where someone has a potential to be hurt, as soon as laws are broken, that's when it should not be considered a protest anymore, and America needs to stand up and fix it. We don't allow the rest of the world to get away with shit. We police the entire world, but we can't police our own home. We can't stop these people from acting like third world countries, people that live in third world countries and do whatever the hell they please, standing in the middle of the street, burning a flag on the ground in the country in which they stand and live, where people fought and died, for them to have the freedom to be able to do the stupid shit that they're out there doing. They're shameful. The mayors and the governors of those cities need to be gone. They set a bad example for the rest of the world, the rest of the cities in our country. And the people there should be ashamed of themselves for taking part in some stupid shit like that. That's just how I feel.
Have you guys seen the video of the 1 minute thing of the like all the peaceful protests and them singing like hands up, don't shoot, and they're like, this, see how peaceful this is, how whatever. First off, most of that was at dusk, and this bothered me today, and I was going to talk about it maybe in a video, whatever. So here's the issue. They're saying, look at how peaceful this is in a 1 minute video. And I think somebody actually shared it in your group in Breathe America, Patrick. And then you look at it, and when I bring up, or when anybody brings up, well, I watched 3 hours of live footage of this being completely out of control, and they're telling me that I don't get it because I'm only watching a snippet, but they're showing a 1 minute clip of peaceful protest. And it's a beautiful thing. It'd be a really beautiful thing if it wasn't during the middle of COVID, and it also wasn't in the middle of COVID, and then also, spreading a false narrative of the hands up, don't shoot thing, which still to this day drives me absolutely batshit crazy. But ultimately, here's the thought process. If you want an analogy for people to think about what they're doing when it goes, well, at midnight or when it's 11 p.m., things change, and you could tell us better what time that whole shift happens. Look at it like this. And if there is anybody that is on the yay protest in Portland side, think of it like this. And it's unfair, for Lipstick to get hit by rubber bullets. If you're at a frat party and it's 7 p.m. Everybody's having a great time. Nothing bad is happening. But then right around 11 o'clock, everybody's getting really drunk and it's a little bit out of control. And say a girl ends up starting to get violated. And then it gets worse because the girl getting violated starts fighting back, which causes the one side to even be more violent against her. And you're still there? First off, yes, the specific person throwing the rocket or the specific person violating the girl is the most at fault. But you are not innocent. If somebody comes in, if a police officer or if the girl's father comes in, guess what? And you're standing in that room, whether you were doing nothing at all, if he had a gun, he'd be shooting every single person in that room.
Mm-hmm.
You are after when the bad stuff starts, and people that are upset that people are being vilified or being demonized as a protester that's out past midnight. They were good during the day. It doesn't matter. If you're part of the bad group at night, you are part of the bad group at night. You are guilty of being there as a part of it, and you can't stick up for, well, I wasn't doing anything around them. You just can't. And a lot of these people, whenever something is thrown, are cheering. It goes back to my analogy. So yeah, you might not be the one violating the girl, but guess what? You are cheering for it.
Exactly.
There has to be some self-responsibility.
I agree.
There's a comment on the side about that this isn't just Portland protesting those, it's cities all across the
True.
country. And Sydney,
True.
yes, you're absolutely right. There are lots of places where this is happening, and God willing, I'll go to every single one of them. Straight up, I will walk into I'll find my way into every one of those things. And if I find any one of them to be different than what I witnessed last night, I will absolutely share it with you guys. But the problem is, yeah, so the protests have been going on since July 13th now, since 2013. So we've had protests for a long time. Like there's always protests going on. This is part of what we do, but these aren't protests anymore. The
Exactly.
message is lost.
Exactly.
This is now more, and it's the wrong people. Even having the protests, they're not even getting the full support from the people that they're protesting for anymore. And that was on display last night when we had two different black women arguing with each other. One woman saying, "Don't listen to her," and trying to shut the narrative down of that we have to stop. One woman was literally out there calling for peace. She wants to go out there and do barbecues and for the police and the protesters and bring people together with food, right? Like she wants peace. She's done with it, right? And she went out there, walked into the middle of a crowd of a couple of thousand people with a megaphone and started asking for it. And the white protesters that were there don't support that.
Exactly.
Oddly enough.
See, oh man, look, let me say it like this. All right. When a protest, that's not a protest. Them people are out there rioting. Okay. When they're out there rioting in the name of something like Black Lives or whatever, Black Lives Matter or justice for whoever, not trying to take away from anything for justice for the people that need justice or whatever their cause is. But when you have let's say that it started off all the way black, then all the people that were out there protesting that are black go home. They're done. We're done. And then you come out as a white person that's like pro-black and you stay out there. And then if you're really for the message of the protest, and then you start tearing shit down, destroying the city, how do you make them people look? How do you make the cause look? If you really do support Black Lives Matter, and which, by the way, that's a horrible example to use with Black Lives Matter because they don't even come out and say, we're not for, violence. We're not for riots. We're not for, all of these things. The biggest thing is, you know what it is? When they say defund the police, that right there is sending a fuck you message. That's what that is. It's like they say ACAB, all cops are bastards, is what that stands for. Totally disagree with that statement. I got nothing but respect for law enforcement, for the good law enforcement officers, for the good officers that are out there every day risking their life and trying to help societies. You know, the message is totally lost, like you said.
Well, like
Totally lost, and it's all about anarchy. It's all about destroying an establishment. It's all about destroying a way of life. It's all about un-Americanism is what I'm going to call it. That's what that shit is out there. It's un-American, which is why they burn a flag, because they're not Americans. Those people are fucking sleeper agents or something for whatever, just ruining this country, ruining how we look as a country, how they're spreading the division. They're spreading it. You know what I'm saying? It's like cancer, bro. They got to be cut out. Them type of people got to go. And we cannot stand for that. We can't stand for that here in this country. When you see that stuff happening in the cities, we can't stand for that. People need to drive out in groups and beep your horns as loud as you can when they're out there with blow horns and all this stuff, man. Like, we have to come up with a plan. So if this happens in our cities, then the patriots need to stick together. All the people in this country that are proud Americans, good citizens, people that love being here, that appreciate the freedoms that we do have, we all need to come together. We need to stand together and say, we ain't having it. You come out here with that, we're not having it. You know what I'm saying? And unless it's in a city, if it's in a city where there's some bad shit going on, I understand. I get that. But when you're coming out to a city where none of the things that you're standing against happen at, then we need to stop it. Because they're destroying good places in this world and turning them into places where shit really does happen. They're switching our country. We have to stop it. Go out and vote November 4th.
I would like to add something about, like, you brought up the all cops are bastard, the ACAB stuff, right? So for all of you guys watching in Breathe America, especially the liberals inside of Breathe America, I want you guys to answer this question for me. I know one of you guys will make a post for it, so make this post up. And if all cops are bastard, then why aren't all protesters rioters? I want to discuss this, and I want to understand where the difference is, because in these discussions that we're having, we are seeing the right, the people on the right are saying things like this, but on the left we're saying, well, not all of the protesters are violent. And I'm agreeing with you. I went down there and I saw it for myself. I 100% agree. Not all of them are violent. But if all cops aren't violent, not all cops kill people either. There are a few that make a few mistakes. But if all cops are bastards, how is it fair that not all protesters aren't rioters?
I agree 100%. And that was brilliant, bro. Oh my God, that is the statement. That is the statement and question of the night on this show, bro. You just hit that on the head, and I hope that they get to hear that. I hope that they see that.
I promise you, there's some of them in there right now. They're already writing it up, and the discussion will happen over there. So if you guys want to be a part of that, come take a look at it. It should be interesting.
Definitely. So
keep it nice.
Yeah. Look, you know I'm all for unity. All of us three here, or we're all for unity. But at the same time, we have to stand up against the evils. Okay, and I'm trying to figure it out in my mind about how we could go about that, because I'm a born fighter. I am a born fighter, and I mean that figuratively and literally. I'm a born fighter. All right. Now, when you got let me say it like this: you got people coming out trying to destroy your city, and they're not protesting anymore. I'm just posing a question. I'm not telling you to go do this. All right, but how would it be okay, since they're out just trying to destroy our cities, all right, if the good patriots of the country that actually have a life and work hard and do their best to make America better by treating other people good, right? If them people come out to your cities and they start trying to destroy shit and tearing things up and looting and throwing fireworks at federal buildings, at feds, and blinding people, would it be such a bad thing if everybody went out and bought a paintball gun, maybe, and loaded them up with paintballs and just, fired at the crowd? Yeah. The ones that are out there, doing it wrong, Would it be a bad idea?
Hey,
I
can
mean,
they
they're
be blue,
throwing fireworks.
can they be blue paintballs? Because then if they get hit,
Blue
then,
lives matter.
yep, it's a very gray area at that point.
I'm going to have to say no. That's a bad idea. I don't want to encourage anybody to go shoot people with paintballs.
I'm not saying to shoot them with paintballs. I'm just saying if they're destroying the city and the mayor and the governor is telling them, the police, to leave them alone, let them do it. At what part do the citizens stand up and say, look, we love you, but we ain't having this? Is like when your kid acts up and you got to whoop your kid's ass because they're doing something wrong and it's ultimately going to hurt them and can hurt the house. You discipline the child. When are we going to discipline these damn children?
So, look, I 100% support the fact that anybody that is breaking the law needs to be dealt with by law enforcement. Now, if the local police department is not going to do it, then maybe it falls under the jurisdiction of the federal government. But this is a country of laws, not lawlessness. And if citizens start trying to police each other, that's a road, bro, that I don't want to go down because I know how that's going to end. It's going to end up way violent.
Not saying police each other, but it's already violent is my point. That's my whole point. They are allowing people to assemble and throw explosive devices that they make with nails and all types of shit in it over a fence. They're allowing people to kill people. Look what happened in Seattle. Look what happened in Seattle.
No charges?
It's already violent. So at what point, this is my question, at what point do we stand up and say, you know what? It's time to be Batman. You know what I'm saying? Time to be the Justice League. Vigilante. I'm not saying to be one.
I think first we stand up and we demand our government and our police and everybody else to do what they're paid to do, first and foremost.
But what they can't, though, brother. That's what I'm
not
trying to tell you. When
It's
the
out of our
mayor
hands.
and the governor tell them stand down, do not go within 2 blocks of that protest. They're allowing anarchy and chaos to ensue.
Yes, they
They're
are.
allowing
Yes, they
allowing these things from people that don't even live there. From people that don't even live in that city.
That question came up in the comments earlier. I meant to say something about it. I could not tell. There was no way to tell how many people were actually from Portland, how many were not. So, but
More and more,
you're
I
at a
am
point
understanding
that
the
you're
term.
right.
More and more, I'm understanding why militias form in this country. More and more, I'm understanding why. Look, if we keep letting it happen, we're gonna lose our freedoms. We're gonna lose our country, bro. That's all I'm saying. We're gonna lose the right to be able to sit here and discuss these things.
Look,
If we
I'm
just
not,
keep letting it happen.
What's
I'm not
crazy?
disagreeing with you. Okay, I'm not disagreeing with
Oh,
you.
I know. I'm
But
just
I-
saying.
And I see the outcome that you're talking about. And yes, at some point, maybe we get to that point. But I'm gonna continue to hope and pray and work towards efforts to bring people back together so that never happens. You know what so everybody asked, like you guys were saying, like, kudos and everything for going down. You know what I was most worried about going down there? Yes, last night it wasn't the protesters. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was a situation like what you just said. Somebody shows up who thinks they're a patriot, that's fed up with it, with multiple magazines, and just starts mag dumping into a crowd. Right? That's what scared. That was literally my head on a swivel looking around. I'm looking for that guy. Like,
how about
seriously.
water balloons? What if we loaded up water balloons?
Well,
It was
that's
pretty.
crazy because that's how all this. If you look at videos, like I remember Stephen A. Smith getting mad about a video of because it was a big deal a couple of years ago, a year or two ago. These kids in bad neighborhoods were just dumping water on police. They were shooting them with water balloons. They were shooting with water guns, and not in a friendly way. Like they were being to the point where they were harassed.
Seen a
So
video like that.
It's interesting that it's kind of become this way. And to tell you how crazy of a world we are in right now, Cash, we're kind of kidding about. We are kidding about the paintballs. Like obviously
I
that's
was
dangerous
kidding,
because
but I
you
was
can get-
serious at the same
Yeah,
time.
it
Not
was
serious
more-
like
I
shooting
know, it's
people
same
with
here. Like
paintballs.
it's more of I wish somebody would do that. But the fact that people in the sides are like, no, don't do that. Somebody can get hurt. Like we know that. Like that's not the point. But fact is, we're at such an escalated point in society and where we are that we don't know what people are capable of anymore. We really don't know what people will do because, I mean, crazy begets crazy.
Well, look, check me out, man. This is the thing. I'm seeing the way that this world's go. I've been reading more than I've ever read in my life. I've been studying things more than I've ever studied in my life. And I've been looking at history again, looking at history and seeing all these things is happening. And I see the way the world is right now, right? Now, they're allowing this shit. They're telling the people that we pay to protect us, to leave it alone. Let it be. And they're allowing this shit to happen. So at what point do the people of this country that love this country, that are a breath of fresh air in this country, that want unity, that they're allowing agents of chaos to come and divide us, okay? When do we come together and we show a force? Not even against the people. Why don't we go to the mayor or to the governor and tell them, listen, either you're going to fix this right now, or we're going to come out here and we're going to fix it. And we're going to start with fixing you. They want to destroy the Fed building? We're going to come and we will fix it ourselves. If you don't do something and allow these people to do their jobs, then you're going to see us out there with a force. And we ain't going to be violent. No, but you want to protest? It'll be hard for you to come in and out, to do your day-to-day things. You know what I'm saying? We have to do something to take a stand and tell them that we're not okay with them allowing these people to destroy our cities. They're allowing them to be violent. They're allowing them to throw bombs. They're allowing them to blind officers. For what? Why?
Look, the people aren't allowing it. Like, it's
not the people. I'm talking directly to mayors and governors.
Right. So here's what we do, guys. We take a step back. We look at the situation. Where are we at? What is today's date? August 1st, right?
Yeah.
November's coming up. You know, we have an election coming up, and I want to point out to everybody that ever sees this video, you've still got time to register to vote. The vast majority of these cities where things are really out of hand, like Portland, it's a Democratic mayor and a Democratic governor. Vote them out, right? Why are cities that are predominantly Democratic ran the ones where we're seeing the most of these issues? Same with Seattle. Same with several other cities. So I encourage you guys to get out there, vote, bring in new people that will stand up for what the people want, people that will not allow the cities to be torn down like that. That is the best thing that we can do in a non-violent sense.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, sir.
If you're in your neighborhood and you see a group of people, right, beating women or trying to rape some women, what are you going to do?
I'm going to handle it.
You're going to call the cops first, though, and then go over there and try to stop whatever's happening from happening, right?
Well, if it's in my neighborhood, since I live so far out in the middle of nowhere, it's pretty much means my house. So
right. You're going to handle it.
It depends. You know, if I have time to call the cops, I mean, that's an impossible situation.
If you have time.
If I have time, yes. If I don't, I'll handle it.
That's the answer I was looking for. Because time is running out. The
Yeah.
more cities we allow this stuff to happen in while we wait for November, the worse off this country is going to be. The worse off these cities are going to be. The more unsafe this city is going to become. The more people are going to lose their jobs, lose their livelihood, lose their businesses because these people want to come out and destroy it. Families are going to lose their income. You get what I'm saying? So we have to do something. The conversation needs to be had. We cannot allow people that are basically domestic terrorists to terrorize our neighborhoods and our cities. You already got to allow gangs and shit.
I want to answer a comment, if that's all right.
Go for it.
Yeah, Gina. Gina asks, "Come on, Patrick, don't you think enough is enough?" Yeah, I do. I think, but calling on the people to stand up and rise up against the protesters or other Americans and things like that, and what would eventually turn violent. You say it won't. I know. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but like, yeah, enough is enough. But we have to find a way to do it peacefully. The best way to do it is voting. Now, look, I'm going to tell you. I'll tell every one of you guys right now. Like I've told you guys before, I've had a concealed weapons license for a very, very long time. I carry a gun with me almost everywhere I go. I am very well trained with these things. I use them all the time. I grew up hunting, fishing, all this kind of stuff. This is what I do. Okay. I'm not violence isn't something I ever want to see us come to. Now, if it does come to me, then my choice to be to not be violent is taken away. Does that make sense? So for me, if you want to know where the line is, it's when I no longer have a choice to protect myself, my children, my family, my home. That's my line. I'm not saying that has to be your line, but I will never encourage people to become violent outside of that situation. I can't do it because I think all life is precious. I think all lives matter. And unfortunately, with tensions as high as they are right now, even with the best of intentions, if a group of patriots goes out there thinking they're going to shut this down, it has the potential to get very, very ugly very, very fast.
Not shut down the people. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the patriots showing a show of force to the people, allowing it to happen. Governors that say, police don't go over there. Mayors that say, police don't go over there, and getting on their ass, going to their neighborhood and peacefully protesting and shutting down their blocks to where they can't drive through. You get what I'm saying?
I do 100%. But here's the thing: just because the mayors and the governors don't let the police stop a protest, you think they're gonna let the police take it off when the people are coming at them? So now you're gonna be so. You think the police are going to step aside and let you protest outside the mayor and the governor's house? The governor's
going to do. What are they going to do if it's so many of them because they can't control what's going on over there in Portland? So how the fuck were they going to figure it out to come control the people in front of the mayor's house?
Well, here's the issue.
With police on one side?
No, because we're patriots and we're not going to start burning shit down. We're not going to tear his neighborhood up. We're just going to stand in front of his house and yell, "Get your job done. This is America. This isn't fucking Cuba." You know what I'm saying?
What if it's a private neighborhood? So you're making me think about what happened in St. Louis now.
Well, then we stand outside. Well, because it's private. We followed the law. We aren't going to break the law. Patriots in this country, we know what we can and cannot do. We're not going to go on somebody's property. No.
What if they live in a private neighborhood? What if they live in a private neighborhood?
We're right at the edge of the street, to where we're not on his property or any other person's property, and block him from his ins and outs. Him or her. Block them from their ins and outs until they get their fucking job done and stop letting these people ruin our country. Plain and simple. You know what I'm saying?
I look at it as two wrongs don't make a right, and I agree with you.
But we're not gonna do nothing wrong though, brother. I'm not telling people to go break the law. I'm not telling people to go and hurt nobody. I was joking, but not really about the paintballs. You know, it was just like a thought. But I'm not telling you to go and shoot other protesters with paintballs. Let me just clarify that. All I'm saying is that they're showing a force of violence. We go out, show them how to protest the right way for a right reason. What more noble of a reason than to defend your country from being torn, or your city from being torn apart by a governor and a mayor allowing their thugs to go out there and destroy the city in which you live. They are not a friend of the city. They're not a friend of the people if they allow that to happen. They're not a friend of America if they're allowing that to happen. And they can say, well, no, they're just protesting. Well, when you're throwing fucking bombs and people are getting stabbed, and then you got officers' eyes being blinded, and you got all these things, it's no longer a protest. So now that's out of the window. You can tell that shit to the news, but we are residents in this city. We know what's going on. We see what's going on. We see what you're allowing. You get what I'm saying?
So what is apparently Claudia asked a question. I don't see it. So if somebody could a couple people said answer Claudia's question. I didn't see it, which I'd be more than happy to.
What's
and
Claudia's
question? I don't even know if it's a poker game or I don't know what it is at this point. And to me, I think the time for protest is standing in front of a mayor's house. To me, at this point, I honestly don't know. Almost your idea of meeting force with force, or almost bluffing to the point where it's like, look, you guys need to go home, otherwise we're going to come out here and we're going to do what it takes as an American citizen to fight to get you home. I don't think going to an already super corrupt mayor or corrupt governor's house is going to do anything except for them to laugh from inside and have their private security detail, probably police officers off duty who they are in the process of trying to defund, get them out of their
Well, then
house.
guess what?
I don't know if that.
Guess what? Then we leave, but not before the world sees exactly what happened. How they allow these people to destroy the city, but when we come and peaceably protest and just ask you to do your job to protect us, to protect the city, to protect the law enforcement that are supposed to protect us, then you have us escorted away. Why couldn't you escort them? And then we show how much of a piece of shit they really are and how they don't deserve to be in a leadership position. That's
Agreed.
the whole point.
Agreed.
That's
And
the
people
whole
and,
point.
I want to, and people have also, nobody's brought it up in this group. Well, I've seen maybe some on the side, but I've heard it also in liberal groups are like, oh, I get it. A whole bunch of white people can show up with their guns at City Hall. And this was obviously right before, this is more of a COVID or getting back to work type thing. And they don't get arrested. They don't get pepperballed. They don't get sprayed at all. Well, yeah, because they showed up, they held their guns and they stood in one place. There's a huge difference between what's going on in terms of anytime there's spray paint. I love when somebody goes, nothing. I've had this way too many times. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just protesting. I go, so did the spray paint just get there like magically? Well, no, that's not what we're talking about. Like, or no, they spin it to, oh, so a building is more important than a human life. Well, no, you just changed it. You just said they didn't do anything wrong. And then you said, well, it's not that big of a deal because it's a building.
Exactly.
That's where once laws start to get broken, it escalates. It starts with the building, starts with burning of the building, then ends with violence. It keeps getting its escalation. So yes, once a building is spray painted, they've broken the law. I didn't see anybody trying to protest with the guns back when they want to go back to work. I didn't see any spray paint coming out. Sorry. Now, the question was, will the protest stop if Trump is re-elected? I don't know. I guess that was a question from Claudia. I think it could get worse or completely stop. Here's the deal. Once Trump is reelected, if he is reelected,
Then
he
can
now
do everything that he was supposed to have been doing, but can't because they're baiting him.
Right. So, well, he's got to worry about the election. He can literally take executive order until the Supreme Court goes against him. So ultimately, he can order a shutdown. And as the Supreme Court leans conservative at this point, so ultimately, once the election is over, if the protests continue, he has the finger on the button to go, boop, they're stopping. I'm sending in the feds. It's going to get violent. And here's the deal. That could end them, or it could make it continue. I don't know. It could make it snowball it into a huge fight.
Let me tell you something real quick. Cindy, you said no media will cover it. True enough. They probably wouldn't, but that is the beauty of the day and age that we live in. We have social media. Look at right now, how many people are reached. The one post that I did, 40 million views, because it was something serious and people needed to see it and people needed to hear it, right? And it went crazy. A lot of the posts that I do now, just a post with words, they reach 4,000, 5,000 people. When we do Breaking the Barriers, 20,000, 30,000 people. Other videos that I've done, 100,000 people, 200,000 people. We have social media and we are all linked together. All of us here right now, I'm assuming that the people that are watching right now that are a part of Streetlights, that are part of Breathe America, that are part of Be the Change, that are a part of Breaking the Barriers are patriots. We have no desire to want to break the law. We have no desire to want to hurt anybody. We want to unite people. But when you have things in the way of their unity and you've tried everything that you possibly could, then what do? You have to remove it. You have to remove it. However it gets removed, but we know what we want. We want unity. We don't want violence. We don't want to break the law, okay? So we have to figure out ways to do that, and that's what I'm trying to say. And even though we know that if we was to go out and peaceably protest and do what I said about the mayor and the governors and all of that stuff right there, we know what would happen. Yeah, we would get removed. Fine. But everybody got their camera out, and everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. You know what I'm saying? So the word will get out and they'll be like, whoa, do y'all see this? You put it on everything, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you know what I'm saying? And it gets out. It gets out. Facebook, it gets out. And then they see like, well, this isn't real good leadership right here. And then when them votes come around, when it is time to vote, they remember, oh, this mayor was the dude that let them and then escorted the good people of America. So he's for the criminals. And then that could be something that gets used against him in the campaign. This guy supports criminals. Look at the video of how he pushed away these good Americans but allowed all this, and then showed them throwing bombs over the fence. Show him making statements about police don't stay within or stay away 2 blocks away from what's going on over here. But take the good people and make them leave. It's all a tactic. There's always an end game. I don't say things for no reason, and I don't do things for no reason. Regardless of my physical appearance and how I'm perceived because of the way that I look and the way that I speak, I'm always thinking. And I've been thinking hard, long and hard about how we can make some change in this country with the way that it's going. And I'm telling you, that'd be a great way for people that are good people to come together and stand together, arm in arm, locked up together, speaking out, not against the people that are protesting. Let them protest. But the ones that are rioting, we bring that to City Hall. We bring that to the courthouse. We speak out. And why are you letting this happen? If you are supposed to be our leader, then you remind them of their oaths. Then you show them the laws of the Constitution, which they swore to uphold. Show them how they're breaking their oath. That right there is grounds for them to be gone. That's all I'm saying.
Just want to give you a heads up. Somebody, Janet, you made a comment a little bit ago. If Trump really cared about Americans, he would not wait for the elections. He would stand up now. He's only covering himself by waiting. So that's a very short-sighted way of thinking. So if indeed, it's always, you got to look at and again, I'm not going to be an advocate for Trump or against Trump. I'm not going to say either way, but the long game is more important in anything that you do. And right now, unfortunately, it could get a lot worse. And if he, by caring about Americans, he's looking at a bigger picture, I believe.
Yes.
The bigger picture is, can we fix the issue right now? Could he stop all of this and make it go away? Absolutely. Would he lose the election immediately? Without question, no doubt. There is no way that if he put his foot down, it would galvanize a group of voters to make sure he is not voted in. So with that said, he, by not standing up right now, by voicing his opinion, by trying to be in the middle, unfortunately, he is hopefully preserving to him what matters, which is the next 4 years and going on. So I wanted to correct that statement, and I understand that. It's just there's really no, because it's an election year, which makes all of this seem so obvious to me of why all of this is happening. It's almost impossible the way our government is set up to truly fix things.
Look, I ain't got no problem with Trump. I like Trump as a president. I think he's great, but y'all, he ain't the savior of this whole thing. And that's the thing. How do you know Trump's not sitting back there thinking like, well, what the hell, man? Where's all the patriots? Where's all the good Americans? Where's all the people that I am fighting for? Why are they allowing this to happen? Why don't they do exactly what I'm telling you right now? Protest against the leaders that are allowing the bullshit to happen. Make waves, make noise without hurting anyone, without hurting anybody, without breaking the law. There's ways to protest. That was don't shop in your own city. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, boycotts, things like that. Constantly making a post about the mayor or the governor or whoever it is in that city or that state that's allowing the BS. We put a light on them. Put the light on them. Put the pressure on them. That's how we do it.
Right now, you could post anything you want on Facebook right now, as long as it's not about hydroxychloroquine. You can literally, right now, it's like they're so distracted on these kind of posts, all the fact checkers and the removers and the whatever. Post whatever you want, because you've got about a 3 or 4 day window where you can go ham as long as it's not hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you guys got any other final thoughts? Because we've been on way too long. I didn't, we were supposed to make a quick special edition for my brother Patrick, and we're here for an hour and a half later, dude.
You were like, we'll do this for like 30 minutes. Yeah. So, final thoughts on my Portland trip. I got to go back to the point that I made before. Seeing it firsthand, guys. The message is lost. Okay, if you're involved in those riots, those protests, whatever word you want to use to describe it, please reconsider your position. I'm begging you, please reconsider your position. As far as the conversation here with us just now, look, peaceful protesting is a constitutional right, and I would never stand in somebody's way to do it. And if you find a way to do that you think is going to be effective and safe and stay peaceful, then by all means do it. I get it done. Let me know. Maybe I can show up. Like, turns out I tend to show up at things like this. Like, I guess, like whether it's Chicago or Portland. But you guys,
Melanie, we are.
I like to end everything. So if you guys don't follow me, you probably don't know this, but I like to leave everybody with a positive thoughts, right? Like that's what it is. You got to learn to control your guys' mind, control the narrative in your brain, dial down the obsessive thinking, and just try to be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. That's really all we can all do, and it will make an absolute difference in the world. Don't let fear dictate your reaction. I don't believe in this. It's not something I think is healthy for us as people. And like yesterday, for example, I easily could have let fear dictate that I did not go to Portland, but I would have missed out the opportunity to understand the mind of a protester that's been there and doing it. And regardless of your thoughts on her positions, we at least now know them. And on top of that, we had an opportunity to learn from her. And if she's watching this, I would just like to thank you again. You are brave for doing what you did. So I really appreciate you taking the time to lead me down there and to show me what was going on and to share your thoughts. And I really appreciate it. So that being said, that's all I got. I love you guys.
I love you too, brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too, brother. We've
Go
been
ahead,
for a long time now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm listening to you guys, and I'm thinking the way to end is what's the takeaway? And honestly, I'm not for this time. I'm not overly in agreement with Cash about storming the Bastille in this case, but there is stuff that you can do. And taking a step back, it's one of those ones like we meet emotion at front, and we want to go, let's go storm it, let's get them, like whatever. However, there is one very annoying thing that you can do in this world, which is email over and over and over. Email those mayors, email those governors, post on their Facebook walls, post on their Facebook feeds, tweet at them. You can organize a group that will annoy the living crap out of them. If you've got nothing to do, go ahead and send 15 letters in one day to them. You're not going to get their attention, but you're going to annoy the hell out of them. And if enough people are doing that, that's the same as protesting at this point, because at any given point, they can tell you to get the heck off the streets. So, if that's the way you want to take action, go for it. God, there's something else I was going to say. I don't remember. All I know is I want to make sure everybody knows Cash and I are speaking tomorrow on the Be the Change page. We're doing an event called Get Up and Be the Change through Jeff Martinet Jr. So it'll be on Be the Change at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And Cash will be sharing it. So I hope you guys join us. God, there was one other point that Patrick stood, and I was thinking about it, and I had it on the tip of my thing, and I don't
hate that about this.
I should have wrote. I don't have my notebook in front of me.
I have a cheat sheet. I write things down as they come up, so I remember.
Yeah, I had it. It was literally right there. I was about to say, and I don't remember. It had something to do with the way kids are. Somebody made a comment about the way kids are seeing things and how important this is, and it really is just. Yeah,
I saw that comment.
Yeah, it was involving that. It was something you said. Ultimately, there has to be. Got it. Yep. Back to the very, very base of this conversation, lipstick and what her career is. I know you don't want to talk about it, but ultimately people are looking for something to be a part of. And I said it earlier. I said it now. Now I know what her career is. Somebody messaged me on the side. And it is, we've been a society, and the takeaway, we've been a society of taking jobs for pay instead of following our dreams and aspirations. So you take a job, no offense. I don't know if Lipstick's watching, but I'm assuming it was a job and not something that makes someone feel fulfilled. So when people are searching for that one something and they find something that they're a part of, it can either be used for good or it could be used for bad, because it's literally following a flock mentality because you feel a part of something bigger. And a lot of people, you know what? When this whole COVID thing is over, find a job that you're passionate about and you love so that you don't feel differently. Go ahead, Cash. Sorry.
No, What's going on with Dr. Frank real quick? Because everybody's asking. And
they were able to get his oxygen support down to 50%. He is no longer in a paralyzed coma. He's in a regular coma. It's every day is hit or miss. Breathing support is, I think, that was the oxygen. It's not great. Every day it goes a little bit better, a little bit worse, but he is deep into the ICU at this point. He's been ventilated for almost a month now. So it's,
make sure you let him know that everybody is asking about him and that we're praying for him, or let his husband know that our hearts, thoughts, and prayers are with them. And we know he's going to be pulled out of this just fine, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a miracle, and I see that coming. So, and Bernie's been great. He hasn't. Think about this. Think about the time that we are in right now, that your husband is dying, your partner, your loved one is fighting for their life for 4 weeks, and you haven't even had a chance to hold their hand, FaceTime them, nothing. He's not able to have any contact. He can't do FaceTime because he can't wake up, but no physical contact with the love of your life, whatever it might be, and nothing from like that's just not COVID patients. That's everybody. That's the world we're in right now, which is why it's people are getting fed up with things, and it starts from that root cause of what 2020 started with, and it's tough, really tough.
Yeah. Well, we're praying for him. Patrick, Anthony, I love you guys, man. I really do. Y'all are like literally like my brothers, bro. You feel me? And I support you guys in everything that you do. I love y'all. All right. All right. Final thought from me. Okay. Check this out. Sorry, Anthony, I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you're about to say love you too. I see you down there. I got you. Look, ultimately, you all know what I want, what I stand for, what it is all about to be a street light. It's about uniting. It's about taking care of each other. It's about unity. You know what I'm saying? It's just about unity. Being American. That's what it is at the heart of it. But there's so many other things now that I've been getting into this and doing all that I'm trying to do and partnering up with these great dudes, you know, Patrick, Anthony, and all the other people, the mayor of this city, the police officers, the police chief. I'm supposed to be going on a ride along so I could show how hard and how much things that the police have to deal with here in our country, and especially in messed up neighborhoods. Okay. I'm trying to do my part. But when I get on here, because now, see, I got an extended family through all of you that's watching. When I see that you guys are, that ones that were out in Seattle and you guys are out in Portland, it pains me to see some of your guys' posts. It pains me to see how you feel about the world in which you live, your reality. It hurts my heart to see that you guys got to deal with the shit that you're dealing with in the city that you live in the greatest country that God ever created. It bothers me to see that you guys are frustrated. It frustrates me for you. That's why I'm so passionate tonight. That's why I'm so passionate about these protests turn riots. That's why I'm so passionate about we have to do something, because I'll be damned. I will be damned if I raise kids to come up in this world and it not be the America that we all believe in, know, and love. And it's simply because of a small fraction of the country that wants to be divided and wants to cause division and wants to cause chaos and wants to show lawlessness and anarchy. I'm not having it. So if I have, let me tell you something. And I mean what I'm about to tell you guys. Look, I'm not against the people. Never am I against the people. I believe it to be everything that we're dealing with today in this country. I believe it to be the fault of the leaders. It's a leadership problem. And that goes not just from, you know, political leaders. I mean leaders in homes. I mean leaders in the house. I mean leaders in the city, leaders in the state, leaders in the church, leaders in the mosque, leadership, leaders in the police force. Leadership. It's a leadership problem, because with good leadership, we wouldn't be faced with these things that we're faced with right now. There wouldn't be no cops accidentally or on purpose killing people. There wouldn't be no people in a protest killing people and then turning it to a riot. There wouldn't be no bombs being thrown and it being told that it's okay if they do this. Cops stand down, stay away from the higher ups. It wouldn't be a bunch of kids being able to be out past their curfew doing the shit that they're doing with good leadership in the home. Do you get me? Because it all starts at home. I watched a live in Portland the other day, and this guy was out there rapping. He was out there rapping, and people were surrounding him, and they were enjoying the entertainment of him rapping, and he wasn't being violent, but he was saying some stupid shit, you know, about fuck the police and all the stuff that he was saying. But it was his right. It's his freedom to peaceably protest and peaceably assemble. He could say whatever the fuck he wants to say, as long as he's not hurting no one, right? This young girl, 16 years old, 16-year-old black girl, gets up, grabs the megaphone, starts talking all kind of craziness. Talking, we're not out here for this. We're not out here for you to be rapping. We're out here because fuck the police, and we need to do this, and that. And I was just mad because she wanted them to be violent. She wanted the protest to turn violent. Okay? And she wasn't getting that. And she said, the white girl that was there with the dude tried to tell her, like, look, you can't tell him how to protest. And it was a black guy that was rapping, so you can't, but he was light-skinned like me. So you can't tell him how to protest. She goes, shut up, white girl. We don't need no white girls out here talking. Why don't you take your ass back home? And she starts saying all this stuff, making it a racial thing. And then when the dude stepped in and said, yo, man, look, I'm here just doing my music, right? She tells him, you ain't even black. You light-skinned. You need to get up out of here because this is a black protest. And they doing this to us. It infuriated me. 16-year-old girl wanted the violence. Already on some racist shit in her mind. Already divided in her own mind. Already got an anger and a misconception of what the world is and how the world works. Out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m., 16. And the first thing that I said, I even commented it on the live. I said, I doubt that her father is in her life. I doubt it. There's no leadership in her home. And then she's yelling that everybody needs to listen to black women. That's what her whole argument was. They need to shut up as a man, the dude. All you men need to shut up and listen to a black woman. You know what I would have told her? Little ass girl, you're not a woman yet. You're 16 years old and you have a curfew. Get your young ass home and do something with your hair, because her hair was wild. It was messed up. Little joke. But seriously, the way that this world is going, the way that these cities are being ran and allowed to be ran, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm disappointed in the leadership. I'm disappointed in the leadership when you tell the police officers they came to the job. So I'm going to be speaking about this more, about what we can do and what we should do. Yes, I encourage you to mail, email, call, Facebook post, everything that you possibly could to get their attention and let them know that this shit's got to stop. Shed the light on everything. Shed light on the sex trafficking, on the missing children in your city. Shed light on all of it, because it's all an issue that's not been discussed. All the stuff that's happening right now needs to be discussed, needs to be talked about. Something needs to happen. Some kind of change needs to take place in all the leadership qualities and all the leadership roles in our country. Something needs to happen. All this shit that they sweep under the rug, all the things that they allow. Why will you allow the evil and push out the good? That just shows that you don't need to be a leader, because you have an evil intent. You're okay with evil, so therefore you must be partaking in it. Something needs to happen. We got to stand together. Remember, you guys, look, I love you and I appreciate you for tuning in with me. I know it's late. I appreciate you. I wish that you guys have a great night and a better morning tomorrow. Please share this video if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. on Facebook. If you don't follow me already, follow me. Go also follow the Streetlights Unity page. Also go follow Breathe America. Also go follow Be the Change. And because we're all in this together. We're all a team. All right? All of us. So you know what I'm about to say right now. Unite. Don't fight. Be a street light. Because only you can be the change that you want to see in the world. When shit gets too heavy, remember to breathe, America. I love you. Y'all have a great night. No baby yet. I'm going to try to make that happen. But if it doesn't, still waiting. We're going to have the baby. You'll be able to find out when I post it on here. Just trust me. I won't be posting pictures. If you want pictures, you have to go to my Patreon. Not my rule. Erica's rule. She don't want the baby all out there on Facebook because I got too many people on my Facebook now. So it's only going to be on Patreon. It's only got like 200 people on there or more, give or take. So yeah, if you want to see the baby when she's born and the videos and all of that, you got to go on my Patreon. I love you guys. Unite, don't fight, be a street light. Because only you can be the change that you want to see in the world. And if the shit gets too heavy and it's too hard, just remember, breathe, America. Go follow Be the Change. Go follow Breathe America. Go follow Anthony. Go follow Patrick. You already follow me. That's why you're here now. I love you. Share all of this. Y'all have a good night.